Department of Public Security, Mr. Yao Jun. Deputy Head of Hubei Administration of Civil Aviation, Mr. Zhang Shun. And the Safety and Administration of Civil Aviation, Mr. Jiang Shun. The Deputy General Manager of China Railway Wuhan Group, Mr. Bao Liqun. Deputy Director of Hubei CDC, Mr. Li Yang. First, let's give the floor to Mr. Li Yang for the latest epidemic update in Hubei Province. As of March the 24th, cumulative confirmed cases in Hubei Province stand at 67,801, 50,006 in Wuhan City, accounting for 74% of the province, 17,795 in other cities, accounting for 26% of the province. On March the 24th, no new confirmed cases reported in Hubei Province. There was no imported cases in Hubei Province except of Wuhan City. There have been 20 consecutive days that there are no new confirmed cases in other cities. As of March the 24th, 3,772 patients are still hospitalized, 1,050 in severe condition, 318 in critical condition. As of March the 24th, total deaths stand at 3,163. On March the 24th, 3 new deaths in Hubei Province, 2 in Wuhan City, 1 in Huangshi City. As of March the 24th, 60,810 patients cured and discharged from hospital. On March the 24th, 487 cured and discharged from hospital, 472 in Wuhan City, accounting for 97% of the province. That is my update. Thank you. Now let's invite Mr. Wang Benju to brief us on the arrangement on transportation. In order to implement the important speeches made by General Secretary Xi Jinping on March the 18th, and in order to focus on the epidemic prevention and control and enhance the social development, we have focusing on several areas in resuming the transportation approved by the central government on March the 24th. This commanding group in Hubei Province has sent out a notification on lifting travel restrictions on exiting the Hubei Province. For people who are living in Hubei Province, they are able to travel outside of Hubei Province with the green code. Start from April the 8th, Wuhan is about to lift the travel restrictions on exiting Wuhan and will resume the intercity transportation in an orderly manner. We have also need to consider the management of people and will take measures to remove the control points. Start from March the 25th. We have started to lift some of the restrictions on the travel. On March the 27th, all of the control points will be removed. We have to follow an orderly approach to conduct our work. Please cooperate with our work. After the commanding center released the notification, I will brief you on our arrangement on the transportation. First, we will resume the operation of the railway, start from March the 25th. Except of Wuhan City, we will resume the railway transportation to ensure intercity transportation. And we will also take actions to ensure a normal transportation of China-EU railway. Start from March the 28th. Arrival services will resume. Start from April the 8th, the departure services will resume in Wuhan City. Second, we will resume the transportation in civil aviation. We will work with the National Civil Aviation to resume flight transportation in places other than Wuhan City. And also we will resume cargo transportation as well. In Wuhan City, we will resume the commercial transportation in Wuhan International Airport. This does not include overseas flights and flights departing to Beijing. And third, we will resume the road transportation. This kind of transportation includes intercity transportation, transportation between different cities and counties in Hubei Province. And also we will resume the charter bus transportation to low-risk regions. We will also resume bus transportation, train transportation, inter-county transportation as well. We will also focus on the chartered transportation as well. And also we allowed single-way travel from low-risk regions to high-risk regions. And also Wuhan will resume its public transportation in accordance with the requirement from the commanding center. And we have to manage the transportation capacity within 30%, and the occupancy rate will be controlled within 50%. For low-risk regions, we will resume the public transportation in all aspects. Fourth, we will resume the water transportation in an orderly manner, start from March the 25th, except for Wuhan City. We will resume the water transportation in other cities. For low-risk regions, for different kinds of cruise transportations, waterway transportations will be resumed. In Wuhan City, the water transportation will be resumed. Fifth, we will facilitate those personnel who have been stranded in Hubei Province back to their work positions. If these people obtain the health code, they could travel to other cities except of Beijing. For people who are stranded in Hubei Province, if they obtained the green code, which is the health code, if they're tested negative with the nucleic acid test, these people will be transported with a point-to-point and one-stop approach. Start from April the 8th, Wuhan will lift the travel restrictions on exiting Wuhan City and resume the intercity transportation. People who are living Hubei Province are able to travel outside of the province with the green code. 6. We will strengthen our territorial responsibility. For different cities, they are responsible to resume the local transportation. And also for these cities, they have to provide support to civil aviation as well as the water transportation. All of this will make sure that we have a smooth inbound and outbound travel for all the people. At the same time, we have to develop a contingency plan and to ensure that all the enterprises and the personnel take effective protective measures. Second, we will clarify the responsibilities for all the enterprises. For transportation enterprises, they have to follow the regulations published by the commanding center. They have to disinfect all the vehicles and offer a reasonable seating plan for all the passengers. And during the transportation, we have to ensure good ventilation and check body temperature for all the passengers. If we identify any fever patients, we have to transfer these people to designated areas. And the Provincial Transportation Task Force, we have to ensure a coordination of civil aviation, railway transportation, as well as the waterway transportation. For the railways, civil aviation, waterway transportation, and postal transportation, all of the relevant departments need to strengthen their responsibility so as to ensure a smooth transportation. Thank you. Now is the Q&A session. Please identify yourself before you raise your question. With CCTV CMG, start from March the 25th, we have lifting travel restrictions on exiting Hubei Province except for Wuhan City. So what measures have we taken to ensure a smooth transportation? Thank you for your question. In order to resume the transportation, we have to focus on 4 areas. First, we have to apply temperature check and testing to all necessary personnel. So we also have to remove all the traffic control points. By 27th of March, we have to remove all the traffic control points across the province. At the same time, we have to remove all the barricades and the blockage. This is what we call the removal. And the second, we have to ensure a smooth highway. For all the highways in the province, we will open up the transportation in an orderly manner. By March 27, all the highways exiting Hubei Province, we have to ensure a smooth transportation. So for some areas, this time may be postponed for some time because of the actual situation. And also, we are encouraging a point-to-point, one-stop approach for targeted transportation. For people who are living Hubei and Wuhan City, they need to obtain the green code in order to travel. Even though you are driving with your own vehicle, you also need to obtain this green code. Before April the 8th for Wuhan City, we have to maintain a strict travel control. And we have special regulations for people who need to come back to Beijing and overseas. Please refer to all of those detailed arrangements. With Economic Daily, recently we found some of the transportation has been resumed in Hubei Province. Can you tell us more about the measures taken by the government? Thank you for your question. Recently, our city has been making a lot of preparations in resuming parts of the public transportation. Start from today, we will resume 42 bus routes that connecting Hankou, Wuchang, and Hanyang areas. And also we are preparing to resume 75 bus lines inside of the city. We will restrain the transportation capacity within 30%. In the future, we will adjust this transportation capacity. Second, start from March the 28th, we will resume 5 lines for the subway transportation. This will help to facilitate the work resumption in Wuhan City. Also, we are working on plans that after April the 8th, after Wuhan lifted travel restrictions, then we have to consider the overall transportation network and to make targeted plans to facilitate the transportation. As of now, everything goes smooth. Third, we also have to consider the timeline to resume this transportation. All of the working schedules have not yet been changed for this public transportation. Fourth, we have to do what we can to reduce the infection risk to susceptible groups. We encourage elderly groups who are above 55 years old do not take public transportation for travel. And also, all the passengers need to scan QR code in order to take the transportation vehicle. And for the railway system, all people who board on the trains need to register their names and scan the QR code. I would like to elaborate on 2 things. First, in order to ensure health and safety of our passengers, when we're resuming parts of the transportation, we have already provided trainings to the drivers and ensure disinfection in all the facilities, and also all the transportation vehicles are equipped of thermometers, and also we have posted QR code on different transportation vehicles. We will manage the occupancy rate in accordance with level of risks in different areas and regions. When necessary, we will control the maximum capacity of the transportation vehicle. We also formulate a contingency plan, and we are linking our transportation network to the public security network. For any suspected cases and fever patients, we will bring these people to quarantine. We also encourage people who are above 65 years old. We are not encouraging this group to take public transportation. Start from today, we have already resumed parts of the transportation to facilitate the business resumption. As the elderly group, they are susceptible groups for the disease. That's why we encourage people who are above 65 years old not to take the public transportation. Please understand our decision and arrangement. For people with difficulties and medical workers who need to travel outside of Hubei and Wuhan City, we will follow our contingency plan for the transportation. All the transportation arrangements remain unchanged. In the past, we have 6,000 taxis provide livelihood support to people who are stranded in Wuhan City. If people with difficulties or elder groups who need to travel, please make applications to the communities so the communities can arrange an urgent transportation to support this group of people. Thank you. With People's Daily. For all of the railway system in Hubei Province has been suspended for over 2 months. So what will be some of the arrangements taken by the China Railway Wuhan Group? Thank you. Thank you for your long-term support and concern with China Railway Wuhan Group. Upon receiving the notification from the leading group of Hubei Province, we have started to make arrangements on the preparations and transportation in Wuhan City. We have focused on the departure and arrival business services in the railway Wuhan. And start from March the 28th, we will process the business and the services for the arrival services in Wuhan City. And the departure services will be resumed in the upcoming 1 week. At the same time, we are also making a lot of preparations to resume the overall transportation. First, we have make ready all the train services in cities other than Wuhan City. So in amount 5 lines, we have resumed services. Second, except for Wuhan City, for other cities, we will dispatch more transportation trains and will prioritize our needs to transport people from Wuhan and Hubei Province to Shanghai City. However, for the arrangement in Wuhan, we will continue to have a strict travel control. And also, we will focusing on the ticket selling in the Hubei Province. When necessary, we will increase the sales of the tickets to meet the needs of the passengers. With China Daily, my question is about the civil aviation. What preparation has been made by the Hubei Administration of Civil Aviation to facilitate the business resumption? Thank you for your question. Because of the travel restriction, we do see an impact on the civil aviation. However, the civil aviation has been followed through the regulations from the national civil aviation and the provincial government. We have made a lot of work to ensure medical supplies transportation. At the same time, we are making arrangements to facilitate the business resumption. Inside of Hubei Province, we start to evaluate the risks of the business resumption. For different positions, we also provide trainings to different positions. We're also checking equipment for different facilities to make sure that all the equipment can support further transportation. And also we're conducting disinfections in the lobbies and the terminals of the civil aviation. Also, we are verifying the qualifications for the personnel who are working in the civil aviation network. Also, we have adequate reserve in the terminals. We have also formulating a SOP for emergency handling during the flight. We also completed the risk management and the risk evaluation for business resumption. We have made detailed arrangements in all aspects. For Hubei Administration of Civil Aviation, we have conducted inspections to all relevant enterprises to make sure everything is ready for business resumption. As the civil aviation network requires higher level of safety, we need expertise for people who can operate the aircrafts, and also we are setting out a very strict standards for all of those people and operation. We need multiple departments to work together to ensure a sound operation of the civil aviation system. As of now, we have to control imported infection, and we are regularly lifting travel restrictions on exiting Hubei Province and Wuhan City. We will facilitate the process and resume our business in an orderly manner. Thank you. With Hubei Radio broadcast, my question is in relation to the self-driving. What areas shall we pay attention to in the self-driving? On March the 24th, the notification released by the commanding center has made detailed arrangements. There are several important timelines, which is March the 25th, 28th, and April the 8th. So the only thing you need is the health code, which is the green code. If you are traveling outside of Hubei Province, please pay attention to the following areas. Public Security Department has already made arrangements, except for Beijing cities. If people who are willing to travel outside of Hubei Province, these people can make their travel if they obtain the green code and the health code. So this is the regulation. And second, for people who are willing to leave Hubei Province, please also check the transportation guidelines in the destination. And also please ensure that you travel off-peak. For people who need to travel for long distance, please check your vehicles to make sure that you are not driving inappropriately. Thank you. And start from today, we could see parts of the transportation has been resumed in Wuhan City. Can you tell us more about the policies and measures to facilitate this transportation arrangement? For people, if they're not familiar with the mobile phones, how could these people take the public transportation? Thank you. You actually raised two questions. The first one is about a real name registration, and the second is about what measures could we take to facilitate the travel needs for the vulnerable groups. Actually, the reason why we are adopting this real name registration is to protect the safety and the health of all the passengers. If we identified any suspected patients, we can track down on these people with the QR code. If we found anyone develop symptoms after they take the transportation vehicle, then according to the name registration, we will check down on the vehicle and check down on all the passengers who are on the same vehicle. And we will also notify the hospitals and to help to protect all the personnel who are in the same vehicle. This is a bottom line mentality and approach that we are taking. Previously, we found some residents are not fully understand of this arrangement, but now we have gradually resumed the transportation, and I also found most of the residents they quite understand our policies arrangements, and they also register their names when they are boarding on the bus. And for special groups, if these people do not have an ID card or they don't know how to use a mobile phone, please rest assured, as long as you are bringing a valid community certificate or valid ID card, we have a inspector and conductor on each bus, on each vehicle, to help you to complete the name registration. As for how to scan the QR code, I believe many people are concerned about this arrangement. Please check the notification then sent out by my department. I will not elaborate on this issue in this press conference. With JinchuNet. After we reopened the railway stations, what measures will be taken by the China Railway Wuhan Group to ensure a smooth transportation? Now we are making ready to reopen our station. We have mobilized all resources and human resources to go back to their position. And second, we have ensure a maintenance of all kinds of equipment in our railway station. We have maintained all the equipment in the railway station to make sure that all the equipment are in good shape. And third, we have made adequate preparation for prevention and control of the epidemic. For each one of the trains arriving in the railway station, we will conduct a thorough disinfection to all the vehicles and the trains. to follow the guidance to resume business by regions, level of risk categories, and different time periods. So we will resume the transportation in an orderly manner. On one hand, we have to facilitate people returning to their positions and work, except of Wuhan City. For cities in Hubei Province, they could travel with the green code and the health code. For people, if they're non-Hubei residents, as long as they hold a valid health code, that these people can travel on a point-to-point basis. We encourage self-driving, point-to-point charter buses, charter flights, and charter trains, so that these people can go back to their work in a safe and orderly manner. And second, we have to ensure the transportation for people who are not returning for work. Some people are traveling to Hubei Province to visit their family members or seek medical assistance. And this group of people also urgent to go back to their original cities. So these people have to obtain the green code in order to travel. At the same time, we have to ensure a good ventilation in public areas and to do a thorough disinfection to all the transportation vehicles. Thank you, all the speakers, and thank you all the journalists. That's the end of the press conference. Thank you.